Hello, everybody. Glad you joined. I don't think this will be particularly long, but typically when I say that, we run 20 minutes over. So I'll say it's going to be a long one, folks. I hope you have a drink. So first, spring is in the air, and air is the name of the new reporting features that we're launching this weekend. Yeah. We're here all week. So I'm gonna walk through the release pieces that are gonna happen tomorrow night. Fair warning, we've already put this in chats and in an email. 8 to 10 Eastern time tomorrow evening will be the site will be down. So not just slow and laggy, we're pulling it all the way down. So I'm hoping you all are doing better things, but in case your plan for Saturday night was Lifecycle Insights, I'll send you some recordings so you can watch it in our absence as we'll be down for a bit. In next week, if anybody's going to CompTIA, I'll be doing a breakout session around customer success. Would love to see you in Chicago. So do let me know if you're coming. As usual, I'll pack extra swag. And then the other pieces next week is Alex is doing
I forgot to share your screen, by the way. Oh. Unless if you were intending.
Thank you. No, I could. Thank you. Alex is doing a presentation with QuickPass next week. So that will be, I'm putting the Zoom registration link in the chat. On Tuesday, I'm having Let's Talk About Taco Tuesday, talk about QBRs, which is more of a demo of Lifecycle Insights. But if you're brand new to Lifecycle Insights and just want more content, I think most of the folks on this call are well aware of all of the clicks, but you can ping me separately if you would like an invite to that, or follow me on LinkedIn because it's posted there today. So those are the two things I had. Alex, do you have anything else coming up, or shall I jump into the air?
Yeah, sounds like time to rock and roll.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this new feature will work on all of your existing clients as of Monday. So if you are on this call, your existing subscription clients, you will be able to do this feature now. In addition, so first, everyone heard we're getting new things on Monday. Okay, we all got that, right? If you're thinking, ooh, I would also like this for all of my clients that are not currently on my subscription, we are adding an add-on that will let you do this piece of asset insights reporting, which is what AIR stands for the rest of your clients for $79 a month flat fee. So this is directly a single report that you could do for all of your clients outside your subscription. So those of you that do QBRs for all of your clients and are on Enterprise or Premium or Plus, you're probably just getting this to go along for the ride for free because you already have all of your clients in the platform. We have many, many, many partners that have us at either the basic or pro plan that have 25 managed clients and 50 non-managed or clients that they're moving to manage that would like to be able to access this. This is for you, right? Again, $79 flat fee per month on top of regular subscription.
But for your existing customers, there will be some features here that you can use for your existing clients as well. So pay attention to that.
Yeah, so everybody gets something along the way. Some people may want to also do this as an add-on. So what is the add-on? It is additional features in the asset list only. So I'm going to click on asset list and ta-da, right out of the gate, we have a prettier chart and report that if your first thought is, I don't like color, I wanted it all in black and white, then you can just turn the chart off up here and it goes away. It looks like normal, okay? So first, you can hide the chart or show the chart. Now, that means that the report, when you print out, you can hide the chart or show the chart. So all of the usual functionality of Lifecycle Insights, if you're seeing it filtered on the screen, the report's going to work the same way. So for some of you on the call, and I'm glad some of you are on the call that I haven't seen in a while, because this absolutely impacts your company. So pay close attention. You happen to be in the middle of my screen too, so I know when you're listening. If you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 asset types in the middle. If, say, you have 15 asset types, we're only going to show the top 7. So you could filter by whichever ones you wanted. So I can just pick workstations, network equipment, software, printer, etc. You could select them all, and it will show up to 7. If you have more than 7, it will just grab the ones with the most assets. Why is that? 1, for ease of reporting. And 2, what we found by looking through folks that have many more than 7 is that they're often like a single SSL certificate, that type of thing. So not necessarily you're actually replacing in terms of sending an asset list out to folks. So if you, again, just wanted to see this by workstation and network equipment, you could do that. So the donut on the left is giving you end of life status, what's in good standing, approaching end of life, past end of life, unknown, the operating system, what's supported, not supported, or unknown. So comments, questions, criticisms, or complaints about the graph before I get on to the next piece and the table.
There's no interaction with the graph, correct? There's no filtering by clicking on any of the colors.
Oh, yes. If I do, so if I swatch out the red for operating system, oh, okay. So yes, you can see that this dropped. So it does whatever.
But you can't, can you click on the components in the graph to make it do anything? I think that's what he's asking.
Oh, no, it just
does.
highlights the number. So if you want the feed, yes, you're right. The interaction happens in the table or in the filters above.
Okay.
So you can get to those, but like if I wanted to see those 6 non-supported operating systems, I would want to get down to just the red by way of the graph. Do we like it? Like, does that help reporting, or we'll be turning it off? I see a couple head nods.
We have a count of devices is what the number is showing, right?
Yep.
Workstations 14 in the green, 11 in the red.
Yep. With the total number of assets. And believe me, we thought about, do we want percentages? We'd considered a few things, just so you know, because I know like you'll think about, would I rather see this a different way? We had considered bar graphs. And the problem with bar graphs is some folks have 250 workstations and 2 servers. So as soon as you try to put them on any comparable scale, it looks ridiculous, right? It looks like you have 0 servers, even though oddly enough, they cost as much as the 50 workstations do. So that disparity really made it come down to counts made more sense than percentages, because again, if 50% of your servers are past end of life, that seems horrific. And then you realize it's 1 of 2, right? Versus 50% of your workstations, where we're talking 120 instead, 125 instead of 250. So we felt like counts was the right way to go. But as usual, if we hear otherwise, we'll look at what we would want to do in the future. We felt like counts was the right place to start.
Do you ever consider replacement cost for a bar chart?
We had not, right now we had just tried to go with counts. We've got the replacement cost, dashboard tile, but that might be something we could add. Hadn't thought about it, but.
Yeah.
I agreed with your logic about servers and workstations being wildly disproportionate with quantities, but with dollars, that is a normalized number.
Yeah.
And my first reaction similar to that was the operating system on the graph feels noisy, and I don't know, I'm trying to internalize the value of that, I was going to suggest you have the counts on the left and then the dollars on the right might be interesting, but.
It might be that we could throw a toggle out there on the left, Marnie,
That's what I
for
was saying,
dollars.
counts versus, you know, end of life, and counts versus end of life and operating system. Yeah, for sure. As usual, right? We'll aim to get it out, see how you use it. And if you find you're always getting the same types of questions from clients or yourself on what makes it useful.
I do like the count though. So to give the positive feedback, that helps at this screen to at a glance be able to see that, because I think we often are doing that.
Yeah. 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 Folks have asked for like a total row. And so this kind of takes that, right, and puts it right in front of you. And so you don't always have to do the swatching if you just want the counts. I think in terms of visuals to deliver to your client, that's also very consumable instead of a deep list. And so that kind of brings us to the next piece of this. And that is in the upper right-hand corner where we have download to Word, download CSV. We now have schedule report for email delivery. So many folks have asked for this, especially this is why we're creating this as an add-on module. So if you want it for all of your clients that are not fully managed, if asset lifecycle management is a conversation you want them to start having, this is an easy on-ramp for you to start. You can see we have already pre-scheduled 2 reports. So if you're ever looking to see in this client, if I've already scheduled a report, you can do that here. I'm going to go ahead and add a new one so you can see what that looks like. So I'm going to add a recurring, but you can also do it one time. I'm going to choose, you can do this weekly, monthly, quarterly, or annually. So I'm going to send it monthly. I'm going to send it as a Word doc. Right out of the gate, even though that dropdown says link, we will not have the link available. Probably later next week, we'll get the link out. Right now, the only option is the asset list template. But you know, if we put a drop-down picker there, that means something else is going to be there one of these days. So just keep an eye out in the future on that one. The next delivery date, so I'm going to put that today. The delivery time right now, they are working on localization for this, so you will see it in your time instead of having to do math shenanigans on where you live. Yep, sorry folks, but this is my alter alias is Yarny Marnie, who used to own a knitting shop. So Yarny Marnie really likes a lot of emails about asset lists, apparently. So I can say, here is your report. And then, you know, you can send whatever note you want in the email as you roll. So I'm going to hit save. Well, I'll hit preview because we'll see the report as a Word doc. Here we go. So the report gets a little overview at the top of what the report is intended to tell you. This table, we're actually removing this table here. So it will just have a little more white space so we can give you a little more room to see the total assets. We'll give you enough space to get the number counts, and then the asset list looks exactly as it did before. Again, if you choose to remove the table, then you won't have that top portion, and it will just be the asset list as you're used to.
Who does the email come from?
I'm going to ask you again what you think of this in a second, but I also want to show you what it looks like if you want to edit your cadence. So I'm going to go in. This will probably get some tweaks along the way, but right now this is how it'll go out the door. You can clearly trash this, and you can also edit. And if you edit, what it's going to do, so this is assuming I wasn't just sitting on the same page at the same time, because you can see the top and the bottom are exactly the same. I'm going to cancel that actually real quick, and I'm going to go into my report and I'm going to swatch for just operating systems. So now when I go in and say I want to edit this report, it is going to say, are you trying to edit the original report to now just be the operating system swatch to red, right? That's my new report setting. Or did you want it the way you originally had it and you were just messing around in the report? I'm going to say use the existing settings, and then I can go in and edit what was, what's going to be sent out. So it's going to show you, it basically saying, hey, you filtered. Were you wanting to send out the filtered one, or were you just playing around and wanted to come in and change the scheduling? So that's what that new at the top is basically. Since you last saved this, you have filtered, sorted, swatched, done something. Do you want to keep it that way or not? So we're holding those pieces for you so you can decide and use either of the two. So would love to hear what you're thinking on, are you going to schedule reports? Have you been wanting to schedule reports? Are there specific use cases or questions about this?
My first thought when I saw this was this might be a way to prompt our customers to go in and interact with the data
Fridays.
if we send it off to them.
It's interesting. I have had multiple conversations this week about folks who have said, my client has been asking me for an asset list they wanted once a month. So, this seems to solve that use case. Alex and I were talking about, 2 weeks before a business review to ship it out to, your account manager or a tech who might be doing the data cleanup, to have that pre-scheduled so they don't have to go in, it just lands in your inbox, might be a nice way to do it. Curious if anybody has any other use cases for it, but those are the two that we hear
Marty,
most often on demos or talking with folks.
Marty, can you hear us?
You're muted, Alex.
No, I don't think I am. I think you are.
I can hear you both.
I hear
Marty doesn't have audio.
Is Alex still muted, or am I?
You are.
But you were cruising right along. Yeah.
Am I still?
We can hear you. You can't hear us.
Yeah, it's not me this time.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Can you hear us?
Now I can. Yeah. I don't know what that was.
Yes, please.
So the question, somebody had a question.
I asked who the email comes from, and you covered that in the text.
That comes from support at. The comment I was going to make was just that, at my MSP, we sent all these things to the ticket system, so it would open a ticket, and then the account manager would have to touch it prior to the QBR or whatever. When we were shipping reports out of ScalePad back in the day, they all went into our ticket system first, so we never surprised the customer with something that didn't have human eyes on it first. Just my 2 cents on it, but once you get it dialed in, it should stay pretty dialed in with what you're sending your customer. So maybe send it to yourself first.
Yeah, and the comment I was going to make, I like this, but I'm also afraid it becomes no closed loop, where if the customer looks at it and they say, well, this information isn't right, or in our case, we're trying to use this to help with the planning of like workstation refreshes. I'd love to drive them to just go in and put comments in the data itself. So that was the first thought of, maybe within this, we're able to add a link right to the login for them.
So they are working on, they're working on it right now. So that would be if you came in and instead of grabbing the email, you grabbed the link itself, it would force them to come log into the link, right? That would land on this page. So that, I think that use case, that workflow is not far down the road.
Then can we force the view, the column view then for them, so that they look at it the way we want them to look at it?
It would come over pre-sorted. Yeah. So that is what they're working on now, so that it holds, that's the other piece, right? It'll hold your managed columns. So if you created, probably a good thing to start thinking about, right? Like now that this could be functionality that will be useful to figure out what a customer view would be, and save that as customer report, so that when you're shipping this one, let's always ship the customer version of this.
And things like that might be adding back comments so those do show, it's the perfect use case for that, and taking out things that you don't need, like status. We find that 99% of MSPs, the status is active or unknown if they're really not taking care of things, but it's usually very consistent. So it doesn't change from asset to asset. So you might play with this and just decide which ones really matter to you.
I've mentioned this in the past too. It'd be nice to have some sort of a global view that we could set for all clients, or for, in our case, all internal staff. So we're all looking at the data the same way too. Because now we're having to build views that match across all of us, so we all understand what we're looking at.
We definitely have that as a notion to be able to create. It would be more of like, as a tenant admin, you could create one and could assign permissions to that view, is the way we're thinking of that. Not on the short term, to be fair, but we do have that as a.
Just thinking about the workflow, I like the idea. It's similar to something we do now of giving everybody a snapshot of their assets at each quarterly meeting. But as far as a scheduled report, do you have would you have the ability to send only the things that have changed since the last report? I feel like maybe it's a little noisy to ask my primary contact to look through a whole list every time, but if it's just changes, then it's worth asking them to just look at it. Do you notice a change that you recognize that's valuable?
We can't send changes, but you could filter to actionables, right? So you could filter to hide all the assets that are nowhere near end of life. So the greens may be there, and start to look at just the things that are near term and actionable.
So
I like that, but it's a little different than what I'm saying. I like the idea of this being a scheduled way for me to say, hey, this stuff went away and this stuff showed up in the last 30 days.
Yeah.
Please take a look and tell me if you don't agree with it.
Right. I'll take that as a.
Yeah, I was like,
feedback
I
item.
feel like that would be a new field in an asset that we'd want to think about tracking, Alex, right?
Yeah, because I don't know that we have a first time scene or a first
Yeah,
scene,
that's what I was thinking.
and that's what we would need to calculate that. So
The red, so keep in mind, this is demo data, right? Which means it's terrible. And we never have a QBR with this client where we actually get them to go green on anything. So there's a ton of red all the time. But if you've got active asset lifecycle management, it's only going to turn red when it is, it's now at end of life. So that could be the only kind of new-ish, except it wouldn't be new green, right? Like brand new asset showing up. But I think, that change piece is something good to take a look at.
And Marnie, we might need two fields there. We might need last change or first seen and last updated, right? Or last status change or something like that to show a warranty expiration or an end of life change or an operating system change or something like that. Just like key field changes or something like that.
Okay, I took that down.
Sorry, I was talking over somebody there.
Well, I was going to say too, like we're creating tickets from the assets now. If we could expose that ticket view, the client would see these specific items have active tickets to be replaced or something too.
So
that might be
that's
something that we could expose.
curious, would a column,
I know we can add that column.
I was going to say, that's what I'm thinking is.
But that shows every ticket we created. It doesn't necessarily, and it only shows the tickets that were created on this side about that asset. So.
Right, and that's what I guess our policy is. If we're creating any replacements, we're creating it from within LCI. So I know that there's a ticket out there to have that system replaced. So it's kind of a workflow thing, right?
Yeah.
If you do it a certain way, it works, but. Because we're really trying to drive tickets out of this system.
Yep.
Or if we can link it later when that comes down the road, so.
How about firewalls? I know that's probably stuck in our networks right now, but could we not have it stuck on our networks and have a separate column?
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of talking about that earlier with some folks who have broken that out further. If you go to account settings, you can add an account setting for anything you want, whether it be firewall switches, access points, etc. And then as long as it has a unique asset type coming in from your PSA or from IT Glue, you can map it in that integration to say, hey, when a firewall lands here, when a managed firewall lands here, call it this. So it goes back to that account settings and the
Setting it up there.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you build the asset type.
But we can make it. Okay. And then link the data over to the PSA.
In the integration. Yep.
Okay. Okay, great.
A lot of folks do that with laptops if their PSA or if their RMM tool is smart enough to identify a laptop as being different. Unfortunately, some of the more popular RMMs don't pass that data along and make it really difficult.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm just grabbing some workstations, right, where I could change the asset type. If these I knew were laptops, I could change them in bulk here. And then again, same thing. If I'd created a new I didn't actually create the asset type firewall, just since it's a demo site, I like having a use case that I haven't actually done. But you could, same thing, do the firewall update, break it out. All right, well, ta-da, that was the show. The other piece is that, so we are working on the documentation for customer success. So that will be launched in the background, but we're not kind of marketing to that piece until the documentation is completed. As usual, we'll have help documentation. And then in account settings, in subscription, so this page will change a little bit. You will have an add-on module. So it's actually $79 a month. We had to put 2 different prices while we were testing, but you could come click here. And then, oh my goodness, I almost forgot the module selector. If you decide you want the Air Asset Insights for clients outside of your current subscription, again, you're already getting this for all your clients that are in your current subscription. We now have a drop-down picker where you would turn on Air and you would only get, this is what those clients would look like. So I've turned on this module for these 2 clients. I will show you where I did that. And you can see the left-hand side is dramatically reduced. So if you got this for all of your additional clients, you would get the dashboard, the asset list, you get the data quality score, the ad hoc reporting, then of course, the account settings, integration, data manager, support, get more insights is just about the other module that all of you on this call would already have. And in integrations, in your primary integration under company selection, VCIO is the original module, right? So these are the ones that count toward the subscription. Assessments only, those are always free, right? You can add any client to that column anytime. And then Air only, you could, so if you purchased Air, so your subscription allows for unlimited asset insights, Air companies, I could select all of these companies. It will not auto select these for you, frankly, because some of you have 123,000 companies in your PSA. And that is
not a joke. There's a dude out there.
It's not a joke. That's for real. And that is a heavy lift on our end. Kirk will say, why am I not processing? And I'll say, Kirk, because we're trying to load 123 imaginary companies for someone. So you would have to go and manually add, but you could add unlimited number for the asset reporting. Now I think I've covered it all. Boy, I would be kicking myself if I hadn't shown the drop down. How do I find my other company?
Right.
That would have been a problem. All right. One last chance for questions, comments, concerns, or complaints.
With that being said, have you talked about any different way of at the top, the customer selection?
Yes. So we have talked, so we're doing a couple things. First, we want to add a search there. You can type now, right? So, if you say galactic, it already searches, even though it's not intuitive. We want to actually make the search so it is obvious that you can search there. And then that is part of why we moved this, is because the assessment only clients end up all the way at the bottom and you have to scroll for days sometimes. So we're already trying to parse that out and make improvements there.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Out of bounds to ask anything about customer success in today's call.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. Sorry. Please go on.
It's not out of bounds at all. So as they're wrapping this up, we have the same immediate needs for customer success from the last time we talked, because it took quite a bit to go from a very simple, a single subscription to 3 all at once. Took a lot of maneuvering on the back end. And if there's something you want to QA 4,000 times, is this going to bill my client properly? So as you can imagine, there has been a lot of work to make sure on Saturday night you all don't get 400 emails from our billing system. So, but I'm happy to show customer success again. Definitely have started to tighten up some of the pieces. We are still aiming. So the filter by account group piece, I know that had been tidied up since our last call, but I think, Matt, you've probably already been on and heard about that piece, but you can now sort all of the pages by an account manager to get that view. Amy, can you grab the phone? I was like, from my desk. Oh, Alex got it. Sorry, we don't often get that. Customer detail. So in the customer detail, one of the short-term goals is to get goals back in here, but we have taken it out for the launch because it wasn't fully baked. So that is one of the top pieces. The other top piece is to pull over the tickets, as you mentioned, to get a ticket count so that we could do, in addition to, this person is really happy with us. I feel like a developer went in and put infinity, which sounds like one of our, actually it sounds like all of our developers. To be able to change this right now, you can do by MRR and by MRR per seat, but we had already talked about auto-populating an effort level to be number of tickets. So you could really get a sense of, you know, this client is 2 tickets per seat per month. And this client is, even though it's a small client, it's 100 tickets per seat per month. Maybe someone needs to have a talking to. And then the profile has some updates in terms of additional fields. Again, Matt, I know you've seen this, but we're going to add tickets here so that is what we can auto-populate from there. But anybody else that hasn't seen parts, feel free to ask if you want a tour of any of the pieces. I'll show the stack alignment chart was the most recent thing that has been updated, other than a few smaller nits. So this is really where an individual, I'm going to grab Alex's accounts and I can see where my opportunities are. I can take the chart and just drill it right down to, I want to see where my MRR opportunity is. And I can see by client, or I can change this view to by alignment. So Hogwarts is only 13% aligned to my stack, which is why they also happen to have the largest MRR opportunity along the way. Added the multiple stack components. So if I go into customer detail and look at stack alignment, oh, I'm in an imaginary client. Let me get a less imaginary one. Here, there have definitely been updates to this page. So Greg and Matt, I know we talked about this, to be able to add a not just the blue when there was a note, but an indicator that the new note is there with the count above it. You know, we can filter by stack. Some of the movement around that has been updated, so it doesn't disappear as much when you know, like some of the smoothness around that. Alignment agreement, that all looks the same. The ability to push, you know, counts. So here I can see that I've updated this row, but I haven't forced that into the MRR opportunity, right? There's an overwrite, so I can choose to add that and it'll populate it in there. So try to give you some more intuitive ways to let you know if you've already done the work or not. And these pieces are now connected. So if you've pulled contracts over, or if you've pulled QBRs over, I do believe that Creative Designs has theirs over. You can drill into these and it lands you right back in from the VCIO module, so you don't have to click into the other module and go find the business review. It'll push you right into it.
Will this also show, like, you know, if you just have an air client, will it pull that information or not in there?
This matches your subscription to VCIO. So whoever you have as a managed client will pull into customer success. Those two packages kind of will have to go together. which is, I'm glad you brought that up, Mark, because that's an important one. You can't have a BCIO package of 5 clients and a customer success package of 50 clients. Those kind of mirror each other.
Marnie, that was a customer calling to say he wants air.
I
like
know.
yesterday.
He's
Yeah.
on my calendar for Monday morning. I told him I'd get back by the way as soon as it launched. I've talked to him 4 times. He's okay.
He literally said, "You never call, you never write. He doesn't feel loved."
That's, we have chatted 3 times.
I told him he could have progress reports, and he would be happy to know that we were going to be releasing it over the weekend. So he's good.
Good.
He's good, but he would like you to call him.
I will.
But I promised him I would give you a hard time in front of 27 people. So my work here is done.
Perfect. Let's call it a wrap, folks.
Oh, do you want to show the screenshot Nick put out in chat? That'll be what the report's actually going to look like with the
You know I do.
what you call it removed.
Let me move 9 screens around and hide
Yeah.
27 people so I can grab it.
They're developing while we're demoing, but that legend has been removed from the asset list report. I think that's a really nice consolidated 1-page report to sit down with your customer and not get in the weeds on who owns what and who gets what, but just have a conversation about what they've bought and what the status of it is.
Okay, here you go.
There it is. That's what page 1 will look like without that legend in the middle. And with that, nobody's allowed to work on Saturday night. So you heard it here first.
We're giving you a vacation.
We won't tell your significant others. You're still allowed to pretend you're working.
I will just say, so my husband is a landscaper, and yesterday he decided he was going to come home at 3 p.m, and one of his clients emailed and said, "Hope you're off vacation." And he said, "Yes, I did take 2 hours off. That's about the vacation I get in the spring." So same thing. Your vacation, however, is 8 to 10 p.m. on Saturday night. His
Right.
was 3 to 5 on a Thursday.
There it is. There it is. All right, everybody. Well, have a great weekend and let us know. I did throw our chat and our Discord and Slack information out there. We've been handling a lot of just first line questions and comments and things through MSP Geek. So if you guys are not a part of MSP Geek, there's a bunch of really smart MSPs out there as a community in general, but we have our own dedicated channel out there. So if you want to come talk to us in semi-real time, we spend a lot of time on Slack and Discord. Those 2 channels are mirrored, so you don't need to join them both, or if you're in one, you get the content out of the other. So the guys at MSP Geek are doing a heck of a job keeping that content up to date for us. And with that, have a great weekend. Oh yeah, hang on, I'll give you the Discord again. There you go, Alex. Absolutely.
Thanks all.